If you've played any fighting game before, then you should know that not every character is created equal. With how diverse characters' toolsets can be from each other, some characters will naturally be stronger than others. Fighting game players usually create tier lists as a way to represent their thoughts on how strong every character is. HD Remix is a mod for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate that aims to create faster-paced gameplay and more diverse toolsets among the cast. Like any other fighting game, HDR is no stranger to having many community-made tier lists, and while these tier lists usually vary greatly between players, one thing remains constant. The top slot is always occupied by Palutena. Just as a quick disclaimer, this video is based on the version 0.3.7 beta, the first public release of HDR. HDR is still in development, so I'm well aware that this video will soon be out of date, but I think this character is an interesting case study in balance. First, I want to talk about the general tools of Palu before I get into the really broken stuff. Starting off, her ground game is significantly better than in Vanilla Ultimate. This can be attributed to changes like down tilt always sending up and starting combos, jab 1 setting up combos and kill confirms, as well as getting significantly more reward from her grab. It's worth noting that while her smash attacks aren't very different from Vanilla Ultimate, down smash and up smash get marginally better as edge guarding tools due to snapping to the ledge being more difficult across the board. Her air game has been made even more oppressive in HDR. While her nair is a bit worse at comboing, her forward air has been made significantly more combo friendly, allowing it to combo even while rising. Back air is also slightly better, still serving as a kill move, but now having a long-lasting, lingering hitbox. All of Palu's aerials, with the exception of down air, are some of the best air-to-airs in the game, favorably trading or outright beating many common air approaches. Make sure to keep this in the back of your mind, it'll be important later. Another thing that Palu has going for is her lack of definitive weakness. Her movement is generally good, her combos are solid, and she has a good amount of ways to find kills. The only real weakness that's arguable is her disadvantaged state. Landing can be difficult since she doesn't have a great way to attack directly below her, but you can often just teleport away, making catching her landings more difficult. And while her up special doesn't have a hitbox, it travels quite far and is difficult to react to, making edgeguarding Palu often require a solid read from the opponent. To make this even more difficult, Palu is able to shorten her up B, which makes her recovery path even more ambiguous. But if this was all she had, she would only be a borderline top tier. The main reason that Palutena is the best character in the game is because of one single attack. Reflect. While Reflect is a very strong move in a vacuum, Palutena's toolset really brings out the strengths in the attack. Reflect can be performed by pressing and holding down special, or by countering an enemy projectile. Most obviously, this move will reflect projectiles as it slowly moves forward for the entire duration it is active. It will reflect even as the visual starts to fade. It also has a large hitbox that covers the entire visual, which will send opponents inwards from the side they are hit on. The hitbox on the reflect wall will refresh shortly after hitting an opponent or their shield, allowing it to hit up to 5 times before it disappears. The startup and cooldown for Reflect are also very short. Palutena is able to put another one up almost as soon as the first one disappears. Already, we can start to see some problems. This wall slowly moving forward will not only prevent players from approaching by being a massive hitbox, but it also stops them from playing defensively by using projectiles. And if the player does come into contact with the wall, the Palutena player gets a free opening. And if the player tries to DI so that the Palu can't follow up, the wall will just hit them again. Its long-lasting hitbox makes it amazing for situations like tech chases, edge guarding, and ledge trapping, and it can also be used as a way to make getting back on stage way easier. So what's the counterplay? The first thing to note is that the wall can be broken by one or multiple projectiles, as long as the wall takes a cumulative 8 damage or more. This is less useful than you might think, however, since the projectile that breaks the wall is still reflected. Some characters that have low lag, decent damage projectiles can use these to break the wall and avoid or reflect their own projectile, but this is often hard to set up as the Palu is applying pressure from behind the wall. Breaking the wall is also less useful than you might think, because even though the Palutena can't put up another wall manually, countering a projectile will bypass the cooldown and put up another one anyways. The Palutena can also attempt to read the projectile wall break by jumping in front of the reflect wall and countering, which will extend the duration that the reflector is out. Two other common methods of circumventing the wall include jumping over it or rolling through it. Jumping over it is usually pretty risky, since Palu, if you remember, has some of the best air-to-air attacks in the game, and rolling through it is usually laggy and reactable. Even if you do somehow manage to bypass the wall and the Palu isn't in a position to punish you, the Palu could simply move to the other side of the wall, resetting the entire situation. Playing patiently usually doesn't work out either, as Palu can use her 2 projectiles to force the opponent to approach from behind the wall, so unless the Palu is at a stock deficit, she has no incentive to be the aggressor. Another thing to note is that even though it looks like one, reflect is not a projectile, so it cannot be reflected back at Palu. The best way for a character to fight while the wall is up is to use a large disjoint to attack through the wall. If the Palu backs up from the wall to avoid this, the opponent can start jumping over or rolling in more safely. While this is the best way to deal with it, it's still not amazing, and the characters that can perform this are few and far between. Palu is a pretty strong, well-rounded character that just so happens to have the best move in the game. The counterplay against Reflect largely depends on a character's tools, meaning a large portion of the cast has no concrete answer to this move. Reflect is really easy on the side of the Palu to set up and puts them at little to no risk, and it forces the opponent to take risks to deal with it. This single move can turn any interaction into one that favors Palu, and is the main reason why she is the best character in the game. That's pretty much it for this video. Thank you for watching. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you want more HDR content. I also stream HDR occasionally, so check the description for my Twitch link if that interests you. I'm going to close off this video with some gameplay footage showing Palu in action.